AAA studios and game developers are completely cooked if they don't change something fast. I recently started playing another Crab's Treasure, which is yet another indie game that puts all recent AAA games to shame. AAA studios have been shitting the actual bed for a while now. Obviously, it goes without saying that there are still a few diamonds in the rough here and there, but AAA games have largely been a disaster in recent years. We all know this. The greed behind a large studio making a game has never been worse in all of my years of gaming. Another Crab's Treasure is a game that stood out to me the second that I saw some gameplay, and I finally decided to try it on stream last week. And I'll just say that I was extremely surprised at how much fun this game actually is. It's a Souls-like game that has mechanics from that of Elden Ring. It plays very similarly, but it has just such a unique and a fun twist. The boss battles are amazing, the music is superb, and the voice acting is charming. It has an actual story to it as well that's really fun to follow, and the gameplay is just amazing. This video isn't even necessarily about another Crab's Treasure though. This is a game that just speaks for all recent indie games. This video is about how bad AAA studios have become, and there's literally no excuse other than laziness. But recently, we've been overrun with awesome indie games that are outstanding, and they're really starting to prove that these big studios could make fun games, they just choose not to. A good example that particularly sticks out to me is Lethal Company, a simple yet addicting gameplay loop that is fun with friends. We haven't had a game like that from a AAA studio since the Vietnam War. Indie games have started to significantly put AAA studios to shame lately. I've had more fun playing another Crab's Treasure than almost all AAA games in the last 5 years. This game is unique, it has appeal, the world around you is fun and vibrant, the gameplay is awesome, and yes, it plays a lot like Elden Ring, but it's still a nice twist. And it was only a mere $30. That's the price of a Fortnite or a Warzone skin. If AAA studios aren't careful, they're going to lose every customer that they have in the coming few years. People are starting to become a little bit wiser as these studios keep on killing our expectations and dishing out microtransactions. Fortnite brought a flood of new gamers to the scene that don't really know what the fuck they're doing. They didn't really know what other games were out there besides COD and Fortnite, but they're slowly learning. They're starting to see the abundance of good games out there that studios have to offer, and as of late, none of those good games are coming from AAA studios. There's been a ton of people going back and playing older games as opposed to new ones. People are playing Fallout New Vegas instead of Fallout 4, Diablo 3 instead of Diablo 4. More people, by far, are playing old school RuneScape instead of the brand new Suicide Squad live service game. People are playing smaller indie games instead of the massive Fortnite. It's starting to catch up to these greedy monsters. Big companies aren't even trying with their games anymore. They just keep re-releasing the same game over and over. They're not even trying to innovate. They'll give us games that don't even work and then charge us full price for it and just fix it later. Let me ask you something. Would you rather play Modern Warfare 3, the same exact COD game as the previous 6, or another Crab's Treasure, a game with a unique story and challenging bosses to fight, one where you can actually feel accomplished after playing it rather than ripped off, one that doesn't have an abundance of microtransactions and instead just simply focuses on gameplay? Like, what happened to that? What happened to studios focusing on gameplay rather than just making money? I don't know, man. It's just bizarre to me to see how far these big studios have fallen. Activision used to be like a renowned developer, like people looked forward to their games, and now they're just kind of a laughingstock. Same with Ubisoft and all of these other big companies. You know the ones I'm talking about. More and more people across the internet are starting to recommend indie games and smaller studios because they actually care about the product. Someone in my chat said it perfectly. Games made for gamers rather than games made for money. That's exactly what's happening right now. Another Crab's Treasure really did blow me away. I had a lot more fun with it than I thought I would. It was an actual challenge, and it also had awesome progression too. I really liked the skill tree and having my little crab grow with me as I progressed through the game. I just don't understand why companies can't do this anymore. Baldur's Gate 3 is another game that comes to mind immediately. I don't know if Larian Studios counts as a AAA studio, but if they do, they are absolutely not the type of studios that I'm talking about at all. Studios like Larian care about the game that they're creating. There's passion in it, and you can feel it when you play. Studios like Activision, I feel like, are a sweatshop of a bunch of devs who are forced to work long hours on a product that they know isn't good, but it prints money. It's sad. I honestly hate the extent of this new model for these AAA studios, but it is starting a new wave. We're slowly exiting the Battle Royale live service craze, and hopefully we're entering the indie craze. The craze where one single person can create a wonderful wonderful game that's genuinely fun, where small studios can create a game out of passion and not out of making their stock increase, and I'm definitely liking what I'm starting to see. It used to be that indie games were kind of like okay. They were kind of fun for like an hour or so, and then you'd hop back on the Skyrim or the Black Ops 3 grind. Now though, especially with Another Crab's Treasure, you could pour 30 hours into an indie game and still have more to do. They're now the size of AAA studio games, and they're twice the fun. We know they can do this. We know that Activision has the ability to make a revolutionary game. They have the power to whip up something that we've never seen before. They just don't, because they keep making mountains of dough without putting forth any effort. They're literally printing money right now. But that gravy train is slowly coming to a halt. As more gamers switch over to playing indie games for half the price and more fun, these companies will start to see their numbers drop. And when they do, hopefully they'll start to give us products that they actually worked on rather than products that they just copy and pasted. Maybe that's why there's been so many layoffs in the industry lately. These big companies have been laying off massive amounts of people because they're literally not even working on new games. They just keep re-releasing the old ones. It takes like 5 months to make the new Call of Duty because it's just a slightly reskinned version of the old one, so they don't need all of these employees anymore. But I am starting to feel the tides shift a little bit. The pendulum is definitely swinging. Games like Another Crab's Treasure are going to lead to the straw that broke the camel's back. I can almost smell the indie game that will revolutionize the entire gaming industry and bring these massive corporations to the ground. I can feel it coming. There's going to be that one game that everybody switches to, and it's going to be an indie game for like $15, and everyone's going to stop playing Fortnite and Warzone and all these big games, which will cause these studios to pivot and completely change the way that they're doing things right now, and I cannot wait for it. But how did we get here in the first place? What led these companies to being greedy dirtbags that don't even work on their games? What if I told you that the answer to that question is Fortnite? Here's a wonderful video on how Fortnite destroyed the gaming industry. You should definitely check it out, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.